It was late October when the cool breeze began whispering through the leaves, and the town of Redford started embracing autumn's warmth in its own nostalgic way. I had just finished lighting the last cinnamon-scented candle in the living room when I heard the distant rumble of a car engine. I glanced at the clock. It was almost 8 p.m. My husband, Greg, was working late again, and our house had felt unusually quiet these past few days. But tonight, the silence would be broken by someone I hadn't seen in a while, my stepson, Tyler. Tyler had been away at college for the past year. He was Greg's son from a previous marriage, and while he never called me Mom, we developed a close bond over the years. He was always polite, respectful, and had a quiet warmth about him. I married Greg when Tyler was 16, and I never tried to replace his mother, who had passed away years before. Instead, I tried to be a steady presence in his life. When he called the week before to say he'd be coming home for the weekend, I was both surprised and thrilled. When the front door opened, I hurried to greet him. Tyler stood in the doorway, tall and a little more rugged-looking than the last time I'd seen him. His brown hair was longer, and his once boyish face had matured. "Hey, Amanda," he said with a soft smile. "Is it okay if I just drop my bag in the guest room?" "Of course," I replied. "It's good to see you again." As he walked in, I noticed the way he took in the living room, the changes I'd made since spring, the new photos on the wall, the cozy throw blankets folded neatly on the couch. Something about the way his eyes lingered told me he was feeling the weight of coming home after so long. "I made your favorite," I called out from the kitchen. "Baked ziti and garlic bread." He appeared in the doorway with a grateful smile. "You remembered." We sat at the table and ate, talking about his classes, his friends, his new internship at a tech startup. He seemed older, more thoughtful. At one point, he hesitated before speaking. "Actually, there's a reason I wanted to come home this weekend," he said slowly. "I needed to clear my head. Things have been a little intense lately." I didn't press him. I knew he'd open up when he was ready. After dinner, we moved to the living room. Tyler offered to help me with the dishes, and we shared a quiet moment at the sink, laughing about how bad he used to be at drying dishes when he was younger. Later, I made us hot chocolate, and we sat on the couch wrapped in blankets. I turned on a classic Halloween movie, but Tyler didn't seem to be watching. His eyes were distant, his posture tense. "Tyler," I said gently, "whatever it is that's on your mind, you can talk to me." He looked at me, eyes filled with emotion. "I don't know where to start." "Anywhere," I replied. He took a deep breath. "I think I'm failing, not just in school, but at life. I don't feel like I belong anywhere. My friends are moving forward, and I feel stuck. I tried to talk to Dad about it, but you know how he is. He tells me to man up and push through, but I feel like I'm drowning." His words broke something in me. My heart ached for him. "You're not failing," I said, placing a hand on his. "You're going through a tough time, but that doesn't mean you're lost. You're human, and you don't have to do it alone." A tear rolled down his cheek. "It just feels like no one sees me, like I'm invisible." "I see you, Tyler," I whispered. "I always have." That night, we talked for hours. He told me things he had never shared before, about the pressure to live up to his father's expectations, about a recent breakup that shattered his confidence, about a panic attack he'd had during finals. I listened without judgment. I offered comfort, advice, and most importantly, presence. Eventually, he fell asleep on the couch, exhausted from the emotional storm. I draped a blanket over him and watched him sleep for a moment, remembering the teenager who used to sneak downstairs at night to grab snacks and watch late-night TV. The next morning, the air felt different. Lighter. Tyler looked more rested, more at peace. We made pancakes together, and he smiled more easily. He even joked about his childhood antics, like the time he tried to build a treehouse in the backyard using nothing but duct tape and broomsticks. When Greg came home that evening, I pulled him aside and urged him to talk to Tyler, not with authority, but with empathy. "He needs his dad, Greg, not just a lecture." Surprisingly, Greg listened. That night, I watched as father and son sat on the porch and had one of the deepest conversations I'd ever seen them have. There were no raised voices, no posturing. Just understanding. Tyler stayed for 2 more days. By the time he left, there was a renewed light in his eyes. He hugged me tightly at the door. "Thank you, Amanda," he said, "for everything. I don't think I realized how much I needed to come home." I watched him drive away, a bittersweet smile on my face. That night, the night he opened up to me, the night he let himself be vulnerable, changed everything. It reminded me that being a parent isn't always about discipline or structure. Sometimes it's about being a soft place to land, a listener, a light in the dark. And as the days went by, I noticed the change in Greg, too. He started asking more questions about Tyler's life, checking in more often. That unforgettable night wasn't just a turning point for Tyler. It was for our whole family. Months later, on a quiet Sunday morning, I received a letter in the mail. It was from Tyler. Inside was a photo of him in front of his college's internship building, smiling wide. The note read, "Amanda, I got the full-time job. I'm staying in town after graduation. I wanted to be closer to home. Because home is where you are. Love, Tyler." I sat there, tears filling my eyes, holding the photo to my heart. That unforgettable night had built something stronger than I could have imagined. Not just trust, but a bond that would last a lifetime.